Hello everyone, how are you? I am Makeda Valletta and welcome to my YouTube page, Makeda Travels. I am right now in Mexico City and I just got back from Puerto Escondido yesterday, and so I want to do a video just talking about, things that you should know, certain helpful information, and about my experiences in Puerto Escondido. Okay, so that's what this video is about. Please be sure to follow me on my YouTube channel as well. I will post the info below. Okay, so Puerto Escondido is on the coast of Oaxaca. Okay, so it's on the Pacific coast of Mexico. This is my second time in Mexico. My first time in Mexico was December 2020. I went to Tulum, Playa del Carmen, and Puerto Morelos. That's over in the Cancun side. This time I came to Mexico City, which I absolutely love. I have, more videos to do about Mexico City as well. But I came to Mexico City for a few days, and then I flew from Mexico City to Puerto Escondido. My flight, I flew from Chicago, so I'm from New York, but I live in Chicago. So I flew from Chicago to Mexico City, might have been like 1:30 for a one-way flight. Then my flight from Mexico City to Puerto Escondido was $45, okay? And the one thing, I flew to Mexico City on an airline called Volaris. And unlike the American airlines that, when I say the American airlines, all the American main airlines are allowing free cancellations and changes even like 30 minutes before your flight because of COVID. With Volaris, you can only change your flight if it's within 4 hours before the flight takes off, and if you have not checked in yet. Okay, so that's one thing to know about that airline. It was an airline I had never flown before. And so anyhow, with Puerto Escondido, I loved it. It's actually probably one of my favorite beach towns that I've ever been to. And I like it so much that I'm going back in the beginning of March. So right now it's the beginning of February. It's February 4th. It's February 5th today. I will be going back there on March 2nd, okay? There's more things I need to do in Puerto Escondido. Now for me, when I travel, I don't just travel like as a tourist and just run around doing touristy things. When I travel, I'm also working. So if you're not familiar with what I do, I'm a nutritionist. I am a trainer, a strength and conditioning coach, sacred sexual educator, a body scientist, okay? So I have clients I work with from a distance. I have classes I record. So when I'm traveling, I'm still doing the same things I would do at home, like recording my classes, working with clients, doing research. I'm always researching, and there's many ways to research. You can research in books, which is important, and there's also observing and being a part of, okay? So those are all those things. So I'm not just there like on so-called vacation, just running around doing all the activities. So I'm just gonna say what I know from other people's YouTube videos and from my experience about what there is to do in Puerto Escondido. There may be more things that I'm not mentioning, right? But for one, it's a big surf town. But the weird thing is that I saw a lot of people walking with surfboards, but I didn't see anybody surfing. And I went to the beach every day for 5 days. I didn't see anybody surfing. I saw one guy like laying on the surfboard, doing the paddling, swimming thing. Never saw anybody surfing, but I saw plenty of people walking with surfboards. Strange, but it's a surf town. There's a lot of signs about surf lessons, which is something I might try, because I like to challenge myself physically, but in a safe way. As long as I know I can't get sucked out to the sea and never to be seen again, I might try it. The Pacific Ocean is kind of rough. Like even standing in that beach water, it's a beautiful beach, but that pull back from the water seemed like it could pull your whole life up from under you. So it's very strong water, which is why it's good for surfing. It's also apparently good for whale and dolphin watching. There's also, it's good for beach hopping because there's many, many beaches. So I was staying by Beach Zicatela. But there are a lot of beaches in the area. And so when I go back, I'm gonna go to more beaches to see what they're like. There's actually a nude beach in the area, which I wanna go to. The good thing about it is that it's easy to get around. There's no public transportation, but there's taxis everywhere. Taxis are very cheap. So when I say very cheap, I mean like from the airport, it's 100 pesos. 20 pesos is like $1. So, I mean, but the airport's not far. It might be like 15 minutes, depending on where you're going in town, 15, 20 minutes, 10 minutes, depending on where you're going, where you're staying. But if you get it from the airport, they try to tell you 300, but if you walk away, it's 100. Or you can get a colectivo, which I did, which is 70 pesos, and it still took me to where I was going. It took me where I was going. So, and that was 70 pesos, okay? When I went back to the airport from my Airbnb, I paid 100 pesos. But when I was going other places, like I always paid like 30, 40 pesos for practically anywhere I went. I mean, it could be a 15-minute ride somewhere, all through whatever, and it was 30, 40 pesos, okay? And I didn't feel like people in Puerto Escondido were constantly trying to hustle you and like overcharge you like they do in Tulum and Playa. Tulum, you'll pay $15, 15 US dollars to go 10 minutes somewhere, okay? Sometimes more than that. So Puerto Escondido is way cheaper. So hopping in cabs to go places is nothing. Also, it's bike friendly. A lot of people have like motorbikes. I don't know about like regular bikes because it's very hilly. So there's a main strip that's kind of like South Beach. It's beautiful. It has a lot of nice stores, beautiful vegetation. It's prettier than South Beach because there's so many pretty plants. One thing I love about Mexico is what they do with all the plants everywhere. You know, it's really amazing. So there's a lot of vegetation, a lot of cool stores and food. But once you get away from that main street, it goes uphill, up into the hills, which I also like because I love hills and mountains. And so like literally I was staying in an Airbnb that was 1 block away, and I had to walk up a really steep hill where I would be like dying by the time I got to the top of it. So that's not good for bike riding. But a lot of people do have motorbikes. It's very walkable as well. Just depending on where you're going, you're gonna have to walk up hills, which is a very good workout, especially when it's in the heat because it's super hot. Puerto Escondido is one of the hottest, but like that sun was some of the most intense sun I've ever felt. You know, of course, we all know the sun in Miami is intense. The sun in Cartagena, Colombia was like, oh my God. The sun and the humidity in Cartagena was, like another level. You know, when I was in Santiago de Cuba, like I felt some strong sun. But Puerto Escondido was like, the first day I had a headache because I like literally had to stay hydrated, which meant I had to keep drinking like watermelon juice and coconut water, not water. Regular water is not what you drink when you are dehydrated or risking dehydration. You're sweating a lot, you're exerting a lot in the heat. Water is not going to help you. I have a whole video about hydration on my YouTube page, The Body Scientist 81. As I said, I'm also a sports nutritionist and a holistic one, so I don't promote Gatorade and stuff like that. Watermelon juice, coconut water would suffice, but I had to drink a lot of that because it's super hot. And I mean, in the morning, it's hot. It's someplace that it's hot in the daytime and warm at night. And I'm talking about February, you know. I'm sure it's way hotter in the spring and the summer, okay? Also, another thing to do there is to eat, okay? There's a lot of food everywhere. So by the beach and like places like La Punta is a really cool area. It's like this strip with all these good eateries and it's all outside. So I like that anyway. Like pre-COVID, I like being places. I hate air conditioning. I like to feel outside air. I like places that's outside or has like indigenous kind of like build where it's made from natural materials. I've always preferred that. And there's a lot of that here. There's a lot of that in Puerto Escondido. So for people who are nervous about COVID, even like you're outside, okay? But a lot of really cool places to eat and hangouts, and there were a lot of tourists in that area, not anywhere near the amount that's in Cancun and Tulum. But the tourists, they seem like the ones that were speaking English didn't sound American. They didn't sound American. They sounded like French. There were definitely some French people. There was some guy who was talking to me that told me he's from someplace in the Indian Ocean. So there was people from all over. Most of the tourists were white though. I didn't see a whole lot of black people. I saw maybe like 10 black people the whole time, scattered. But it was mostly white people. But the white people had a very like bohemian vibe. It wasn't like the typical white American looking vibe, and you know, very fit, like bohemian type vibe. And I got cool vibes from people. There were also a lot of the tourists were also Mexicans from other parts of Mexico. In Puerto Escondido, there's no Uber though. Okay, so in Mexico City, there's Uber all day. There's no Uber in Puerto Escondido, so you need to have pesos so you can pay with cash. And but taxis are easy to get. I never felt unsafe. The navigation in Puerto Escondido works, but sometimes like a lot of things don't show up on the navigation. So like you might be looking, somebody might have told you about a certain restaurant and you try to put it in navigation to find it and it doesn't come up at all. Okay, so that's one thing about navigation to know. Also, when I would look at navigation to go places, it would tell me a lot of times to like, what, like let's say I'm on the strip where the beach is, right? And I'm gonna go from here to there. The navigation would tell me to walk up the hill and over here and then back down the hill. But that's because if you walked on the street next to the beach, it kind of runs into construction where you can't keep walking. But if you actually walk on the beach, which is what I would do, I would just walk on the beach, then you could walk that straight path. Okay, so a lot of times navigation will tell you to go up and around all over the world when you could just walk on the beach, like not on the sidewalk, but on the beach. The airport in Puerto Escondido is smaller than a lot of bus stations I've been in small towns. I've been in Greyhound bus stations in small towns that are bigger than the Puerto Escondido airport, okay? Very teeny airport. Walking into the airport, they make you dip your feet in like a puddle of water and clean off the bottom of your shoes, okay? And that's something that you see in other parts of Mexico where they'll suggest it, but in the airport, like to come in the Puerto Escondido airport, they made us do that when we got off the plane and coming back in to leave. Then like the hand sanitizer was optional coming in the airport, but then when I was going through security, he said I had to use the hand sanitizer. So that's why I carry my own. I also have done videos where I talk about why I do not use commercial hand sanitizer. It's no good and actually causes a lot of harm to you in a whole lot of ways. Destroying the microbiome on your hands, exposing you to cancer-causing toxic chemicals that should never be on your skin. But there are natural hand sanitizers, or you could just put water in a spray bottle and spray it, because I don't even feel like you really need that. But even if you felt like you wanted to use that, washing your hands is always best, but if you felt like you need to use that, you want to get a natural one. In Mexico, they're obsessed with having everywhere you go, they have a big container of this hand sanitizer that they want to put on your hands. And I'm like, no, so I walk everywhere with my own, so I don't end up making myself sick using that, okay? And to go through security, he told me, nope, you have to use it. So I took mine out. Whenever I take mine out, they're always fine with that. Also, they made me fill out a form about, you know, when I was leaving Puerto Escondido, just put your name and your birthday, and then like to ask you, have you had a headache? Have you coughed or sneezed or felt congested in the past week? Yes or no? And then they looked at it and that was it. They didn't even collect it. So I don't really know what the point was of that. They didn't even collect it from you or anything. Going through security, they weren't anal about checking my bags, because a lot of times I have a lot of shit in my bags, and a lot of times my bags get pulled to the side and they want to know. And since I've been in Mexico, they've been the most bag checking. I can't even get into all of it right now because I have other stuff to do, but they're the most bag checking people I've ever experienced here in Mexico. But in Puerto Escondido, they weren't like that. They were very like nonchalant and laid back. There's no Wi-Fi in the airport, so know that. And no food in the airport, no souvenir shops in the Puerto Escondido airport, none of that. The taxis in Puerto Escondido knew where everything was. So even if, you know, if you just tell them where you're going, they always knew. So they weren't like, oh, where's that? Blah, 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 like how it was when I was in Tulum and Puerto Morelos, like nobody ever knew anything. The Airbnb I stayed at was in a really good location. I'm going to post a link below for the Airbnb I stayed at. I didn't take any pictures or videos because I was just busy living life and doing all the other things that I do. I don't get paid to post any of the stuff that I post on YouTube, especially not these travel videos. So I just do what I can. But the Airbnb I stayed at was nicer than it actually looks in the link. It was very nice. I'm going to stay there again. And I think it was like $40 a night. It was really nice bathroom. It was a block from the beach, had a nice pool, very clean, beautiful plants, you know, it was nice. They'll do your laundry for 70 pesos. I left it, went to the beach, came back, my laundry was done, neat, everything. There's no air conditioning in my Airbnb, but it didn't, there was such a good, the way things are built in Mexico is actually to keep things cool. Well, I could say in Mexico, I could talk about the parts of Mexico I've been to. And so even here in Mexico City, which is why like it's cold in a lot of these places, if you stay in Mexico City, you definitely need to make sure that wherever you stay has some type of space heater or something, because it gets cold at night, like in the 40s. And these places are built to, with no insulation, and they're built to make things colder, so it's horrible. And I'm gonna talk about that in another video when I do another Mexico City video. But I didn't mind not having an air conditioner because where I was staying was up in the hill. There was breezes constantly coming through there, and I didn't feel like, oh my God, I'm so hot. You know, I didn't feel that way. At night, it cools off, but it's not chilly. Like I never needed a jacket at night, which I like because I hate when I have to carry around changes of clothes. So it's not like that. It's like it's hot in the day, at night it's nice and comfortable. It's not suffocating. You're not hot at night, but you're not chill. You're not cold at night. It's just good. It's nice. Okay. The Wi-Fi was weak and spotty in Puerto Escondido. Even where I was staying, the Wi-Fi wasn't always working. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. And then most like places that I went to, most restaurants and stuff didn't have Wi-Fi. But if you're American, I know with T-Mobile, I'm not sure if this is all the airlines, but I know for sure with T-Mobile, I mean, I'm not sure if it's all the phone companies, but I know with T-Mobile, you get the same data, like it's all the same. You're using the internet and everything, your data plan. I'm not a good technology person, but it's the same in Mexico, also in Colombia. So as soon as you land, you get a text message that tells you that. But at a certain point, it tells you, oh, you've used all your high speed, you know, whatever, and now everything's gonna be lower speed. And then every time I get that message, a lot of stuff stops working on my phone unless I'm on Wi-Fi. So that's one thing to know. Let me see, hold on. Make sure I say it all. In Puerto Escondido, there are people that speak English, but I noticed that it was the white Mexicans that spoke English. The indigenous Mexicans usually didn't speak any English at all. So I do think that you should know some Spanish when you go to Puerto Escondido. I do think that. I said that the tourists spoke many languages. I heard people speaking French. I heard people speaking all kinds of languages. And English seemed to be sometimes, English and Spanish, the languages that united them. But when they spoke English, they didn't usually sound American. The taxis never spoke English, okay? I'm trying to see if there's anything else. Oh, also to chill on the beach in Puerto Escondido was huge. Like the sand, there's so much space. Like it's not a tight beach. And this is during COVID, so I don't know what it's like, you know, when COVID's not happening, but there were a good amount of people, but there was still so much space. It was not a tight beach. And the beach chairs there, beautiful beach chairs for all day under umbrella or the beds or whatever, it was 150 pesos. Now, 20 pesos is $1, okay? So way cheaper than like, I feel like in Playa, we might have spent $15 or 20 US dollars or something for a chair all day. Whereas in Puerto Escondido is way cheaper, okay? You're paying like $7 or something. Drinks are cheap, you know. A lot of drinks around like 60 to 70 pesos. I went to this one place that I loved, and I got really good mezcalitas, because mezcal is a thing of Oaxaca, not tequila. Okay, it's a different Mexican alcohol that's supposedly similar to tequila, some people say, and some people say it's not. But This was made with mezcal, and there's a maracuya, which is passion fruit. I had fresa, which is strawberry, and there were 2 for 80 pesos. Okay, so that's 2 for $4, $4 US, and they were like really good quality drinks. Okay, really beautiful restaurants. But then if you go deep into town, like go up in the hills, I was amazed at how dense the town is and how far back it goes and how many businesses there are and things there are to buy. But people don't try to hustle you. Like, it's not like when I was in Puerto Morelos, which is over by Cancun, every time we went outside, people were trying to sell you stuff. People in Tulum could be aggressive too, not as bad as Playa del Carmen and Puerto Morelos. It was like, oh my God, it was like so annoying. People in Puerto Escondido don't do that, okay? And it's a huge area that goes up into the hills with a lot of local things, a lot of local food, all kinds of good food that I didn't even get a chance to even fully really explore. That's why I'm going to go back, and when I go back, I'll report more. I will post what I can on my Instagram page when I have time. But there's a lot of food to eat, whether you want something that's more shishi, closer to the beach, that has this beautiful atmosphere. It might be a little bit more expensive, and even a little bit more expensive, I'm talking about $6, $7 for an amazing plate of food. You know what I'm saying? Which might be like $25, $30 in the US, okay? Like literally. Or you're eating local foods from so many good local foods where you could eat a meal for $3, $4, $2. I don't know. It's really good food. I never felt like people were trying to scam me. I said that. Oh, also, I lost my bank cards. My bank card. And I left it in the ATM somehow, which I don't really understand because I stayed around. I got the receipt. But next day I couldn't find my ATM card. I go back to the bank. They tell me that any cards that got left in the machine is destroyed. So I had to have money wired to me via Western Union. They have Western Union and MoneyGram. Okay, they have them both in Puerto Escondido. It was easy for me to get there. It cost me like 30 pesos to take a taxi over there. They were very nice. So just so you know, like, you know, I didn't have any bad experience with that, even in that situation. A lot of places do take cards, but if you're getting like stuff from local people, you're gonna have to pay with cash. But a lot of like businesses, restaurants, coffee shops, a lot of them do take cards. There were people, there were local men there calling me Morena, who were the same complexion as me. The people in Puerto Escondido, the indigenous people, have a beautiful complexion, brown, caramel, reddish, you know, nice complexion. People were nice. I didn't feel any kind of tension, any kind of messed up energy from anybody. But the next time I go, I'm gonna go to the supermarkets because I didn't see any supermarkets this time until I was leaving. So I didn't get to go into supermarkets. I like to go in supermarkets and analyze, and I talk about that on the Body Scientist page where I get deeper into the health stuff. Also, hot springs is something that you can do. Like they have like on Airbnb experiences, and I've heard people talk about riding horses to these hot springs, and I want to do that at some point. Next time I want to go to a nude beach. And next time I want to experience the town more, and I want to go to the gym because there were some gyms, and I really wanted to work out. Just didn't get a chance to get there because in Puerto Escondido, unlike Mexico City, you can't have things delivered to you. Like they don't have, like you have to go get food. So in the morning when I want to get my tea or go get my breakfast or whenever I want to eat, I have to go to the restaurant. Sometimes ordering stuff saves a lot of time. So that just kind of shortens what I'm able to do in a day. But I want to explore more of the town. And next time I'm going to chill on the beach more and do some more work on the beach. So I think that I said everything I needed to say about Puerto Escondido. I had to make my list because a lot of times I do videos and then I forget everything. Also, when I flew back from Puerto Escondido to Mexico City on Volaris, and they told me because I didn't check in, did they say 72 hours in advance, I had to pay 100 pesos. 100 pesos is $5. But when I flew Volaris going to Mexico City, I checked in like 12 hours prior, and they didn't charge me a fee, so I didn't really understand that, but that's just something to know. And they weren't anal about the bags. They weren't anal about measuring the bags to see if it fit their standards, because some people are like that. Some airlines are like that. They weren't. Yeah, that's what I gotta say. So I'm in Mexico City now. I'm going back to Chicago tomorrow. I got a COVID test yesterday because now we need to take COVID tests. We need negative tests to get back in the country. There's a service that came to me last night. They did the COVID test, 15 minutes. My test was negative. They gave me the results. So now I'll be using it to fly back tomorrow. Anybody's in Mexico City and they need that information, I'll be more than happy to pass it on to you. The test cost $55. It was 1,100 pesos, which is $55 US dollars. So I'm good to go. So that's what I'm going to say. Oh, the other thing about Puerto Escondido, there's a lot of cute bikini stores. So even this top right here, which I love cute tops. I love cute tops because I'm a trainer. I teach pole dance, and I hate sports bras that are super tight. And I like swimsuits that are cut a certain way. And in the U.S., I only find the swimsuits I like in Florida. Like no place else, not California, not nowhere, just Florida. It's a certain cut. And then in Cartagena, Colombia. So other than that, I haven't found things that I like when it comes to that until I came here to Puerto Escondido. And I'm gonna post the name of the designer who made this, because I can't remember her name, but I'll post it below my YouTube video, her IG page. And then there's this Brazilian bikini store called Amazonia that I bought some stuff from that I really loved, and it was priced well. It wasn't overly priced like it could be in Florida. But I saw more stores that I want to go explore. So I'm gonna go explore Puerto Escondido more and get some work done while I'm there. If you've been there, if you have any recommendations, please let me know. And yeah, if you like this video, please like it, please share it, please subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Okay, people, be well. Bye.